Hi, guys. Welcome back to episode number 14 of the Courtside podcast. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well, staying safe and staying rested. It's just me this weekend, unfortunately. The guys are busy right now. But anyway, in today's episode, we are going to be recapping all the playing games, discussing if the Warriors dynasty is at an end, plus preview the first round of the playoffs. As you guys know, the NBA playoffs start this weekend, which I'm really excited for, and a bunch more. But before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on that post notification bell, like this video, and comment down below who do you have winning the whole thing from the East or the West, and who is your sleeper team for this upcoming postseason. And without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Woo! Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge the big news that happened this past weekend, and that is Blake Griffin announcing his retirement. As many of you guys know, I didn't watch a ton of Clippers games as a kid, but I remember watching the Daily Zap, and pretty much almost every single highlight they had of the Clippers was pretty much a Blake Griffin like dunk. So I want to congratulate him on a successful career. One of my favorite players to watch in the 2010s. I know a lot of people say you didn't watch the Clippers as a kid, but like I tend to watch a little bit here and there. But Blake, congratulations on an awesome career, dude. Enjoy retirement and hope you won a ring, my guy. Anyway, let's start with the first playing game, the Lakers and the Pelicans. I think this was the game 5 or 6 in totality between these two clubs. My biggest takeaway was the Pelicans. I know the Pelicans lost, but for the Pelicans side of things, they fought hard. All right, but in the end, it was just too much LeBron, too much Anthony Davis, too much D'Lo. As you can see, Zion had 40 points. He answered the bell, and it kind of sucks now that he's injured for the postseason because if you guys didn't hear, Zion tore his hamstring. And according to Woj and Shams, who are NBA insiders, for those that don't know, they both said he will be out for the remainder of the first round. But this was probably Zion's best game of his career. Like, I know he has a lot of great games. This one was his best game by far. 40 points and 11 rebounds against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That is impressive. Moving on, we got the next game. We got the Warriors and the Kings. Kings won this game. Listen, my biggest takeaway was that the Kings came prepared. They came prepared. Keegan Murray had 32 points, 9 rebounds. Steph had 22 points. There's nothing you could do about it. You know, it was a tough season for the Warriors, especially when Draymond went out. It wasn't even close by the looks of it. I watched a little bit of this game. I have to admit, it was not even close. And really sad that Golden State won't be in the playoffs this year, especially with a healthy Steph, Clay, and Draymond. But hoping next year that won't be the case. Moving on to the next set of primetime games, we have the Eastern Conference playing games. We got the Heat and the Sixers. Joel Embiid led the way with 23 points and 15 rebounds, and Tyler Hero from Miami led the way with 25 points and 9 assists. My biggest takeaway from this series was that Philly needed this game badly because, like I said in my Keen Lee show, they, in terms of how much confidence I had them in the best of seven series, it depended on who they played in the first round. Like if they played Boston, they were going to be screwed. If they played something like a New York, yeah, they maybe would have a chance. And they showed like why we avoided Boston, why we needed someone else. And right there, Joel Embiid, 23, 15 points. Although he did not play that well, I know he was like limping a little bit, but like at least they got the job done. They're now going to play the Knicks, which I ain't going to lie is going to be a very interesting matchup. But yeah, that's my biggest takeaway. Next up, we got Atlanta and Chicago. Honestly, for Atlanta side of things, I think they need to blow it up. Like, I think one of it kind of reminds me, and it pains me to say this because you guys know I'm a Blazer fan. It kind of reminds me of the Damon CJ situation in this sense that they either have to they have to ship out one or the other. They can't choose. They have to pick one. And it's kind of unfortunate because I thought Trey and DeJounte were going to work, but it just didn't click. And then you look at the Bulls side of things, Kobe White is probably the most underrated player in the NBA right now. Like 42 points, 9 rebounds and 6 assists. Like, especially without Zach LaVine, that's impressive. I think the Bulls need to build around Kobe White because I think he is the next bright star in Chicago. Moving on to the next set of primetime games, we got the Bulls and the Heat. The Heat, this game was probably not even close by the looks of it. Tyler Hero almost had a triple double, and Nikola Vucevic led the way for the Miami Heat. My biggest takeaway was that despite not having Jimmy Butler with it, Miami still has guys that can give you 15 and 29, and it shows why with Tyler Hero stepping up, Caleb Martin, Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love. Like this team is rock solid. At the side of the Bulls things, like look, the Bulls they didn't do well this year, unfortunately. This has been like kind of a up and down year for the Bulls, but like you know, I think like Atlanta, they gotta blow it up, man. They gotta blow it up. Moving on, we got the Kings and the Pelicans. This game was actually really close. I got constant score updates of this game because I follow some of the players on my Score Mobile app. But this game was close. But the Pelicans in the second half just said, you know what? We're done playing games now. We want this AC. We're gonna win this for Zion, and they took over. Brandon Ingram, I saw at 24 points. Jonas Valanciunas had 19 points, 12 rebounds. And for the Kings side of things, it does not look good. Domas Sabonis played really well. I think De'Aaron Fox played really well as well. But overall, just an okay season for the Kings. I thought they were gonna be. I didn't think they were gonna make the playoffs this year because I thought a lot of they were gonna be like Memphis in this aspect that a lot of teams in the playoffs last year that didn't make it like got injured or lost a couple of key guys, and that's what happens. So, what was your biggest takeaways from the last games of the play-in? Uh, Let me know in the comment section below. All right, up next, we got a topic that I personally don't want to talk about, but it has it on my agenda, and that is asking the question: is the Warriors dynasty over? And if you guys have known me for more than a year, whether it's on YouTube or in person, you guys know I've been the biggest Warriors supporter for the past 5 or 6 years now. I've always been on the Warriors side in terms of if they can make a finals run, if they're a good team, and a bunch of other things. But as you know, they lost a couple nights ago to the Kings, and everyone, including the media, is asking, is the Warriors dynasty over? And honestly, it pains me to say this. I don't think I'm kind of between. But as of right now, April 19th, 2024, at around 10:33 p.m., the dynasty is not over, but I will say this. Clay, I love you. Clay Thompson, I have been rocking with Clay for a long time. Just like if you guys follow me on social media, you guys know that I've been the biggest Bradley Beal fan that isn't a Wizards fan or just a guy who respects Bradley Beal. Like Clay, I love you so much. You're one of my favorite players in the NBA to watch when you're hot. You need to take a pay cut, my guy. All right, because I want to see Golden State in the playoffs. I want to see Steph try to get a fifth ring. I want to see Steph in the playoffs. And with that being said, you need to take a pay cut, my guy. I know it's like an insult to you, but like everybody's been saying, Joe Lacob, even your general manager, even your owner, Joe Lacob said, I do not want to pay for the luxury tax. I love this team to death, but I don't want to pay for the luxury tax. So my final answer is in terms of competing for the title, maybe dynasty. No, it's not over. If Clay can take a pay cut, I don't think it's over. But we'll just have to wait and see in a couple months because you never know who might offer Clay that role. So what do you guys think? Is the Warriors dynasty over if Clay takes a pay cut or if he doesn't? Like, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. So now, let me look at my agenda for a few minutes. Let's look at the next set of things that we have to do. We are going to go over Jimmy Butler and Zion Williamson's injury and how it affects both teams, the Miami Heat and the Pelicans. As many of you guys know, as I alluded to earlier, like 5 minutes ago, Jimmy got injured against the Sixers, and Zion got injured against the Lakers a couple days ago. Now, according to sources, according to Woj and Shams, this is what I've been saw on social media. Zion is supposed to miss possibly the rest of the postseason, as well as Jimmy Butler. So I think let's talk about first for Jimmy Butler. This is a bad sign for the Heat because they have to go up against Boston, even though during the non-LeBron eras, Miami has gotten the better of Boston per se. They won 2 series out of 3 between Boston post LeBron. But at the same time, you need that guy, you need that alpha leader to stand up. I know they still have Udonis Haslem, who's one of the most vocal leaders on that team. I understand that. And I know Bam and Tyler Hero and Caleb Martin and is going to play well, but this is a different Boston team than last year. All right. They got shutdown defenders everywhere. They got a guy that can give you 20, 25, 9, Kristaps Porzingis, who I think is the X factor for this series. So I don't know. I think they're screwed. It pains me to say that because I've always said you cannot count Miami out. Miami is the type of team that pushes you to the brink, to the point where like you're like, I can't take it anymore, and you just eventually give up. That is the definition of the Miami Heat. As for Zion Williamson, look, this is unfortunate because I love Zion. He's like one of my favorite young players to watch in the league. All right, his explosiveness, his dunking, and he played really well this season. Like ever since the in-season tournament championship against, I think it was the in-season tournament, the Western Conference in-season championship. He's like, I want to play better, and he did. He played exceptional. Like I don't think I've ever gotten an injury report on him from that point on, and the fact that he's not playing is tough. Is very tough for the Pelicans moving forward. But yeah, that's my biggest takeaways from Zion and Jimmy Butler's injury. What do you guys think? Do both teams have a shot against Boston and OKC? Let me know in the comments section below. All right, now we're going to talk about the teams in the East that can pose a threat to Boston. Because as many of you guys know, and a lot of basketball fans know, Boston has been the best team in the Eastern Conference all year from tip off, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. So I'm going to give you teams that I think can pose a legitimate threat to Boston right now, and I'll give you guys like a reason or two why. So I'm going to start with number 5, and I'm going to say, and I know it sounds crazy, given that I've been the biggest critic of them. I'm going to still say Milwaukee, just because they know what the strengths and weaknesses are of Boston. Plus, like they're big rivals. They hate each other. All right, so like they know the strengths and weaknesses of this team. But the reason why they're number 5 is probably the obvious reason. No Giannis, so that's why I have them at 5. At 4, I'm gonna go, and it pains me to say this because I thought this team was gonna look good. I'm gonna say the Knicks, just because I think Boston has guys on their team that they could shut down with Jalen Brunson. You could throw a Drew Holiday, a Derek White, what's his face, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like you could throw multiple guys at Jalen Brunson. Not saying Jalen Brunson can give you a 39. He can't. But like Boston has a lot of great defenders on that team. So I'm gonna take um the Knicks here. My only issue with the Knicks is outside of OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, who's their shutdown defender? Like who's going to shut down Tatum? Who's going to shut down Brown? Who's going to shut down Porzingis? So I have the Knicks at number 4. Number 3, I'm gonna go, and this might sound crazy to y'all. I'm gonna go the Pacers. Like this, like everyone knows that this Pacers offense this season has been absolutely amazing. I think they like average 130 points a game in the season, which is abnormal for those for those basketball like who are basketball fans but are like diehard basketball fans like myself. Like 130 points a game. Like I've been watching the NBA since I started school, which was kindergarten, and I've never seen that happen in an NBA season until now. That is absurd. And now they added Pascal Siakam to go with Tyrese Halliburton, to go with Miles Turner. Now, obviously, the loss of, I think it was Ben Mathurin who went out a couple months ago, is huge because I think he brings that energy, that spark off the bench. But That's why I have Indiana. And plus, like, let's face it, this team is very young. Like outside of Pascal and Miles, this team is probably the youngest team in the league. At number two, I got Miami, and this is with Jimmy Butler. I just think Jimmy, like, he knows how to beat Boston Celtics. Jimmy Butler is a metahuman. Let me repeat that. Jimmy Butler is a metahuman in the playoffs. For all my Arrowverse fans out there, you get what I'm saying with the metahuman. But for those that haven't watched the Arrowverse, it's basically like a player or a person who is a superhero at everything. Like LeBron's a metahuman, KD, Jokic, Giannis when he's healthy, Embiid when he's healthy. Uh, Steph is a metahuman. Jimmy Butler is a metahuman. Like Jimmy is the type of guy that's like, yeah, I could give you 25 a night in the regular season, but in the postseason, he puts on that Terminator mask on, and he's going to drop 50 on your head. The reason why I don't have Miami at number one is, as I just said a couple minutes ago, Jimmy is hurt, so that's why they're not number one. But I have a feeling they're going to put up a fight this year. And then number one, call me crazy. I think Philly is the biggest threat. All right, but here's the catch: Joel Embiid has to be healthy. That's the only catch with Philly because if Joel Embiid's not 100%, I don't think that I would switch Miami and Philly in a heartbeat because I think with Embiid healthy, Philly is going to push Boston to the brink. Just because I think Joel Embiid, before he got hurt, like he was amazing. Like I think he had like average 36 points a game, like 11 rebounds. Like that is nuts. So who do you guys think is the biggest threat to Boston? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you have Miami at the top? Do you have Philly? Who do you guys have? Let me know in the comment section below. Speaking of threats, let's talk about teams in the West that could pose a threat to the Denver Nuggets and why. So, as we all know, the Nuggets won the chip this past summer. So everyone begs the question: who in the West can upset the Nuggets or push them to the brink? And I have a couple of answers to that. So, at number 5 again, and this might sound crazy considering they won the season series, but I got the OKC Thunder. I know Chet and Shea has been absolutely amazing. They have been amazing this year. All right. But my concern with a team like Denver is they have guys that they can throw you that can shut down an SGA or Jalen Williams or Chet. And plus, if you look at it from this perspective, like this team is very young. Like OKC is like one of the youngest teams in the league. All right. Do I think they could steal a game or two against Denver? Absolutely. I really do. But if you look at it long term, who would you take? OKC or Denver? Like in the playoff series? I would take Denver. At number 4, I'm going to go with the team that a lot of people, I don't know if they're like so high on, but I'm not entirely sure. Number 4, and I might get hate for this, but hear me out. I got the Lakers at number 4. All right. First of all, I do think that the Lakers and the Nuggets, this series is going to be fun to watch. Like, I think this is going to be like, this is probably going to be the second watch series this postseason, just because you got Braun, AD, Jokic, and Murray, the little rivalry, I like to call it, the Western Conference Finals rematch from last year. The only reason why I don't have them higher on this list is because I think right now you look at teams like the teams I'm going to mention, like Dallas, Phoenix, Minnesota, like they have guys that they can throw Jokic. And I'm not saying AD is a bad defender. I know Lakers fans are going to hate me saying that. But the thing is, the problem with Anthony Davis, and I know he had a great season. He had a phenomenal season. He made me look really stupid, by the way. But AD has these games where he can drop you 40 and 41 game, and then next night it's like, what happened to the 40-point game? Was that a fluke? In other words, in plain English, he's very inconsistent. I know he had a great season last year, but I have to see it for myself if he can step up to the task at hand. I know what LeBron's going to do. I've been watching Bron for so many years. I know what he's going to do in the postseason. Can AD be like, hey, Bron, let me handle this. Let me cook. That's why the Lakers at number 4. Number 3, pains me to say this because this team I think is like probably overhyped a little bit, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. Look, if there's anybody I think that can counter Jokic going for 30, it's Luka Doncic. Like I have to admit, Luka's been a metahuman this season. Kyrie's been playing really well. They have now, in my opinion, they have guys that they could throw at Jokic, like Daniel Gafford, who I've been a huge fan of. PJ Washington has been really good. Derrick Jones Jr. is great, and obviously we know Luka and Kyrie can drop combined for 90 in your face. Like, come on. My only issue with Dallas is this, and it's not a big concern. Like, oh, it's like a humongous concern. This is like kind of a small concern. Is can Kyrie stay healthy? Because a lot of you guys don't know this about Kyrie, especially when he makes the playoffs. It seems like every time he makes the playoffs, like he always gets hurt. And on top of that, I know it's been a couple years, so don't hate me when I say this. Kyrie hasn't made the conference finals since 2017. And that's almost like 7 years. And I'm not saying Dallas can do it. They can get to the NBA finals. But he hasn't made it to the NBA finals since 2017. All right. And I understand like this team is different roster wise, but at the same time, like you look at it from this perspective, like can they do it is the question because they have a tough Clipper series to come prepared for. We'll see because they have to face each other in the second round. Only time will tell. But I say the Mavs are at number 2. I got the Timberwolves. All right, they have guys that they could throw at Jokic, Gobert, Orcat, and even Naz Reid. In fact, I think I heard somewhere in terms of like personnel, I think Denver said Minnesota gave us props. Like they pushed us to the brink, even though we beat them in 5. They pushed us to the brink. My only issue with Minnesota is that they're very young, especially Anthony Edwards. And I think Denver can throw a couple guys at Anthony Edwards, like a Michael Porter Jr., a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Aaron Gordon. But I think right now Minnesota, in terms of like personnel wise, like personnel, they can possibly pull up a fight against Denver. And then number 1, I think this one. I know this sounds really crazy of me saying this. I still say it's Phoenix, just because not only do they beat the season series against Denver, they have a guy that they can like not necessarily go score for score against Jokic, but can make it uncomfortable for Jokic. Like if you're going to defend him, and that's Jusuf Nurkic. And I know Jusuf Nurkic is not the sexiest of names, but this guy plays pretty well when he's out there against Jokic. Like I think I watched all 3 meetings against the Suns against the Nuggets, and Jusuf Nurkic held his ground against Jokic when they played. Not to mention, they have 3 guys that can give you 30 a night. Like, if you want to shut down, who are you going to shut down between Durant, Beal, and Booker? Who are you going to shut down? So those are my teams that I think that can pose a threat to Denver. Let me know in the comment section below who you think can upset Denver. Without further ado, let's get to our next task. Woo! All right, since the first round is just underway starting tomorrow morning, we're going to go over my first round playoff picks. Now, keep in mind, these are my own opinion, and this is what I've been hearing. I judge them this season, etc., etc. So let me know if you agree or disagree with. I want to hear your opinions about it. But let's get into Keelan Lee's first round predictions. All right, so let's start with the East. I feel like the East this year is kind of easy. Per se, I know it doesn't sound that good, but like, it's kind of easy. So let's start with the East. Pull up my bracket up here. All right, we got the first round of the series. We got the Celtics and the Heat. I believe the Celtics are favored to win this game by a ridiculous margin. I think they're favored to win this series by, what is it? I need to look. Oh, yeah, they're favored to win the series by 13.5 points. That is a lot of points. I'm going to take the Celtics to win the series. I do think Miami is going to hang around and be annoying a little bit just because, if you guys watch Miami since post LeBron. They always push teams to the brink, no matter what. And I just think Miami right now, yeah, they're going to push Boston to the brink. I'm going to take the Boston Celtics here, though, in 7. All right, moving on. We got the other matchup of the series. We got Cavs at Magic. The Cavs, by the sounds of it, looks of it, are 4.5-point favorites against the Orlando Magic. And I'm not going to lie when I say this, because I know I say a lot of crazy stuff. I mean this in the serious remarks, being dead serious. Like, this is I'm very serious face. This was the hardest series for me to predict. Like, I ain't joking. Like, let me know in the comment section below if you guys think this is probably the hardest series to predict. Because I personally think this is the hardest series to predict. But having said all that, Cavs at Magic, this is the hardest series for me to pick. Both teams have very young talent. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley on one side, and then you got Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Jalen Suggs on the Magic. I'll take the Cavs in 6, maybe, just because I think right now Donovan Mitchell is running out of time. Like, Donovan is not getting any younger, folks. And I think if they do well, I think they can squeak the way by. And plus, Orlando's very young. They're like one of the youngest teams in the league. I don't know if they're younger than OKC, but they're very young. Moving on, we got the next set of games. We got the Bucks at the Pacers. Pacers at the Bucks, excuse me. No Giannis in this series, for those that are wondering. This one's a no-brainer for me, just because I think right now it's probably like lopsided right now at this point. I'm gonna take the Pacers in 6 this year. This season's been a mess for Milwaukee, and I'm sorry to say that to all Bucks fans out there, but just a minute, like, you guys lost the Dame trade, and it wasn't even close. I understand Giannis was threatening to leave Milwaukee, and understand that, but like, you guys lost the Dame trade by a large margin. Not only did you trade him to a Western Conference final, you haven't been the same defensively at all. So I'm going to take the Bucks to win this series. So, I mean, not the Bucks, excuse me, the Pacers. Sorry, Pacers win the series in 6. And then finally, to wrap up the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, we got the Knicks at the Sixers. Man, this is probably my hardest series to predict. I know I said Cleveland, Orlando. This one is like 1A. All right. Oh, man. I guess if I had to take one, I'll take the Knicks in a grueling, emotional 7-game series. Just because I think, I think this year is gonna show. I think Knicks are getting tired, of being like overlooked, because apparently when you watch ESPN or like other sports TV shows, they talk about like a Boston or Milwaukee or like a Philly or Miami. I think the Knicks, they win this series in 7. And I think Philly next year bounces back. Let's go over. So my Eastern Conference playoff winners for the first round are the following: Celtics, Cavs, Pacers, and the Knicks. Next up, we got the Thunder at the Pelicans. Like I alluded to earlier, no Zion in this series. I'm going to take the Thunder to win the series, but I think the Thunder are going to win this in 7. I think the Pelicans are going to push the living, and excuse my language, push the living shit out of the Thunder to the brink. All right, the Pelicans, like, they are a very feisty team to mess with, and I think, if Zion does come back, which I don't think he is, but if he does, like, that's going to shake up the series. Give me the Thunder in 7. Next up, we got probably America's game of the week. I know it sounds weird me saying that because it's a football reference. If you know, you know. But the Clippers and the Mavs. As of right now, as I look at my phone, Kawhi Leonard is a we'll see for this series right now. So we don't know what he's going to look like. Regardless, I'm going to take the Mavs in 7. Like, I don't know. The Clippers seem to me like a weird team these last couple months of the season. I know Kawhi's been out for the last couple of games, but this team has looked very weird. Like, this team to me was so good, like from like I think like it was like December to all the way to like February, and I honestly don't know what happened. Next game, we got the Timberwolves and the Suns. The Timberwolves are favored. Let me look at my thing by 1.5 points, which I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is the case, just because I think the Suns own them this year. But anyway, Timberwolves and the Suns. You guys know who I'm gonna root for. I'm gonna take the Suns here to win the series. I do think the Timberwolves, however, I think they are gonna put up a fight. They are gonna put up a fight. Anthony Edwards is gonna push whatever he has to Phoenix to the brink. But ultimately, I'm gonna take the team that has the better talent in the Suns. I'm gonna take the Suns in 6. And then finally, we got the Nuggets and the Lakers. Probably one of the best matchups of the postseason. There's a like outside of Boston and Miami and like Milwaukee and maybe Indiana. There's a lot of beef between these two teams. Like these two teams legitimately hate each other. Uh, I'm gonna obviously take the Nuggets to win the series. I do think, however, I do not expect this game to be a sweep just because I think LeBron and AD are going to play really well. But you have to have all hands on deck if you want to beat the Nuggets in a 7-game series, let alone make it a series against the Nuggets. I'm going to take the Nuggets to win this series in 6. So my official Western Conference teams that I think are going to move on to the second round are the following: the Thunder, the Mavs, the Suns, and the Nuggets. So what do you agree with? What do you disagree with in the Western Conference? Let me know in the comments section below. And let's get to our next theory. Woo! So to wrap up the postseason, I thought it would be nice if we do our official top 10 playoff teams, courtside hierarchy. Forgot to say that. Courtside hierarchy rankings for all the 10 playoff teams. Now keep in mind, there might be a lot of controversy. There might be a lot of like disagreements here and there. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. But let's rank the top 10 playoff teams according to myself. So kicking off at number 10, I am gonna go with the Lakers here. I just think, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lakers here just because they look, this team has been playing really well lately. Braun has been playing well. AD has been playing really well. My D'Lo has been playing really well. I forgot to say that. Austin Reeves has been playing really well. Like this team is a top 10 team. Number 9, I'm gonna go Miami. I'm gonna go Miami at Miami this year. I just think Miami right now is very well balanced. You know, they have a lot. There's a lot. Miami isn't like what I'm trying to say is Miami's not gonna back down without a fight. Like they are going to push you. They're gonna push you to the brink. So I got Miami at number 9. At number 8, give me the Sixers. And I know it sounds crazy, but I do think Embiid coming back is huge for the Sixers, especially now in the playoffs when you have to go up against a feisty Knicks team. Give me the Sixers at 8. Number 7, this might sound crazy. I'm going Phoenix at 7. I know that sounds really crazy of me, but it isn't. The big three have been playing really well this past couple of games. I know they lost to the Clippers, and I think it was game 3 between these ball clubs. But this team fights hard every single night. And Bradley Beal has been the hottest player in the month of April. And it ain't even close. So I have the Suns at number 7. At 6, I got the Dallas Mavericks at number 6. Like I said, Luka and Kyrie have been playing exceptional basketball. They had a lot of great role players on the team. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Jones Jr. Derek Lively looks like a dark horse rookie of the year candidate. I know Wemby and Chet, Scoot, Brandon, I mean Chet, Wemby, Chet, Brandon Miller, Scoot, but like I think Derek Lively is a very, very underrated player, and I think he's going to be a great player in this league. Number 5, it might cause some controversy. I'm not. I'm going to take the Bucks here at number 5. I'm gonna take the Bucks here at number 5. I know they've been looking like an absolute shit show these past several months, but I do think though they're a top 5 team in this league. I know it sounds crazy to me, but like, you know, like I think Dame is gonna figure out a way to steal like maybe a game or two against the Pacers. We'll see. But give me the Bucks at number 5. At number 4, oh man, give me the Timberwolves at number 4, man. Like I understand they have looked okay. Actually, no. Actually, replace the Bucks. I'm gonna take the Knicks at number 5. As I look at it now, I realize the Knicks are number 5. They've been playing really well lately. Jalen Brunson is an underrated dark horse MVP candidate. But yeah, number 4, I got the Timberwolves. Look, they've been balling out this year. You know, number 1 defense. They will be tested though by Phoenix. All right, they will be tested by Phoenix, but this team is still great. They got a lot of guys that can give you 15 and 29. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, what's his face? Mike Conley. Like this team is very solid. At 3, yeah, give me the OKC Thunder at number 3. I have been one of the best teams in the league all year. Chet looks great. SJ looks like a bona fide MVP candidate. Give me the Thunder at number 3. And at number 2, give me the Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets at number 2. I know, like this team has been one of the best teams all year. You know, especially with Jokic and Murray. My only issue though with the Nuggets though is their bench. That's the thing that terrifies me the most is their bench. But like I said, as long as you have Jokic and Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, you always have a chance. And number 1, I don't think this is even a debate right now. Right now, give me the Boston Celtics. Uh, my issue with Boston is that this team has a tendency of playing way too cute. And that is my biggest concern with the Boston Celtics. They play a little bit cute at times, but right now, I think they're the best team all year. Best starting 5, have a bunch of solid role players on their team. And yeah, that's my biggest takeaway. So, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Courtside Podcast. If you did, please give a like, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We might, I don't know if we might post our recap of the first round of the postseason this coming Sunday. But with all that being said, I hope you have a fantastic evening. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Stay safe, stay warm, stay active, stay hydrated. And until next time, we out. Peace.